It's the last video of the year, and in this video we are going to build an Oviraptor ranch slash farm in Jurassic World Evolution 2, starting with the paddocks and the driveway leading up to the farmhouse. By the way, if you hear bangs in the background, don't worry, this is not World War III happening last minute. I just live in a neighborhood where setting off fireworks is very popular and very noisy. I used the Malta wall pieces for the fences because I didn't want to use the super tall, heavy-duty dinosaur fences that we have in the game. And on this last day of 2022, I really do hope that in 2023, we're gonna get an update with a low fence type because that would be so useful. It's like getting up there on my list of most wanted things. Whatever we will or won't get though, I'm excited for Jurassic World Evolution 2 in 2023. This year, I have made 220 videos excluding live streams, most of which about Jurassic World Evolution 2, and I'm still not bored with this game. And I think that just goes to show that it's a pretty good game. And I still have so many ideas that I want to share with you guys, this Oviraptor Ranch being just one of them. So I hope that for the last day of 2022, if you're not subscribed yet, I hope you hit that subscribe button and join the Evolution Square. We'd love to have you here, all 141,000 of us. I have the 4 paddocks for our Oviraptors ready, and I'm just laying down the driveway that leads up to the farmhouse. And really, it's going to be like a whole compound, right? It's not just going to be a farmhouse, it's going to be the house itself where the farmers, the ranchers would live. But I'm also going to make a barn, which I'm so happy with how that turned out. A really good barn. And some sheds as well. And I also, like behind the farmhouse, I'm also going to do an actual bit of farm, like crops. Like maybe they grow food specifically for their Oviraptor stock, you know, because they believe in nurturing their animals in a certain way, and they just want to have full control of what actually is being fed to their animals, something like that. And I really think that this is just a super cute thing to incorporate if you're gonna do like maybe a city-inspired build, but also in a park this could work, right? I actually, in the first Jurassic World Evolution 1, I did a paleo farm, and it was just a really fun thing to add to a park where they grow food for the dinosaurs, because maybe that's like a cheaper alternative than just buying it somewhere else. So I'm customizing these 3 amenities over here, and if you are using mods, I'm still playing this game entirely unmodded, but if you are using mods, I would suggest that you overlay those buildings a little bit, right? So it just looks like one huge farmhouse. For me, it just sort of turned out as the main house with 2 smaller structures on either side, maybe related specifically to the business, you know, so that's like a little office off to the side or something else. What I really liked playing with here is that parts of it are really pretty and very much decorated and aesthetic, and parts of it are just very functional and utilitarian, because that's sort of the balance that I personally always see in a farm, because, you know, a farm is a home, so it has that like homey feel to it with, you know, like planters and stuff like this, and a nicely aligned driveway leading up to the house. So there's that beautiful aspect of it, but then there's also the aspect like around the barn and the shed where it's just like, yeah, some things are just a little rusted over here, and we left this machinery out because I'm gonna use it again in a couple of hours, stuff like that. So there's a little combination of that going on in this build to bring it to life, in my opinion. Now, what I always do, even in my parks, but especially here, is to line the back of the building with anything that will obstruct the view of the back of the building. So I went with the Malta wall arches here, because the idea here is that those buildings are the house, right? So we don't want to see like all of the crap that's behind those buildings. Now we're actually gonna get started on the barn build, and oh my god, you can get these viewing galleries so close together. Not like side by side, as you can see here. That was a little disappointing, but like facing each other, you can get them so close. And if you squint and use a little bit of imagination, I feel like that totally works as a convincing barn. Again, I brought in those Malta wall pieces to sort of obstruct some of the sides of it, make it look more barn-esque. What am I hearing? Oh my god, it's really, there's so much going on right now. But yeah, I really love how this barn turned out, and I left like the front of it in the middle open, so that's where you would just walk in. And you can interpret the barn two ways, right? Right, you can imagine that it is in an interior space where they keep some of the oviraptors, maybe some of the younger oviraptors, some of the new generation. Or what you could also pretend is just like how this farm has crops at the back that they use for growing their own feed for the oviraptors. Maybe because the oviraptor is omnivorous, they're not just growing fruits and nuts and berries to feed their animals, but maybe in that barn they're just it's like a chicken farm as well, and they feed the omniraptors. They feed the oviraptors chicken eggs, or maybe just the chickens themselves. So yeah, you can play around with that and find your own iterations. And by the way, I built this for the oviraptor, right? Because it's one of the newer species. And I just like how Oviraptor Ranch sounds. But you can totally do this for any other number of species. Like, it would be really cool for ceratopsians because they have that more, I guess, cow-like look, especially Nasutoceratops, or, Triceratops, Penceratops, any of those guys. You could also do it for your Hadrosaurs. You can just play around with that and even do a mix of animals. Honestly, I feel like this is a really versatile idea, and I really hope that you can and will use it, because it's honestly also just so much fun to build. I had a really good time with this, and it's a really short build too, so don't get intimidated by that. It's not like my Quetzalcoatlus temple, where it's just like an hour long of placing rocks. This was, the whole build was something like 40 minutes, I want to say. The whole project, at least including like doing the pretty ending shots, was an hour, so it's a really quick build. Now, probably the most time consuming, and yes, the most boring part, was placing down these bushes. So these are, it's like the orchard. I don't know what they're specifically growing here. That was a big explosion. There's some heavy duty firework going on in this area. Don't worry. But yeah. So this is the orchard, where you could pretend that they grow the food for the oviraptors, or maybe they're growing food for human consumption. Again, you can put your own spin on this. Now, because this is so time consuming, I only made two orchards. You can also make it more like a crop field by using bushes instead of the trees. I only went with two because, it's just a small build that I wanted to show you to get the idea across. But if you want, you can make like a huge farm/ranch, right, with several different fields with different types of crops. I think the Pennsylvania map works out really well for that, as well as the taiga and the alpine maps. Those have good foliage as well. I would not recommend a map like Biosyn Sanctuary, because the individually placeable trees there are just pine trees. Just a lot of pine trees and not much else. I mean, you could make it a Christmas farm. That's super cute. But you can also do that on the taiga and alpine maps. Like on Canada, you also have the pine trees. That could be really cute. I should have done that for Christmas. Dang it. Anyway. I'm just finishing it off with some final details, and we have a lot of really suitable stuff, but the water towers in particular were very good to use. And something I also did, which I've done before during this week of speed builds, is using the jeeps and just parking them around the compound as like, the worker vehicles parked around. And this last thing that I'm building right here is a well. It's quite a huge well, but this is as small as I could get the water to be. So it's just like the smallest puddle possible, lined with those concrete barriers. And then I used a Biosyn light to pretend that that's like the arm where the bucket would hang off. And then just some final things, some cages, like for getting the oviraptors ready for transport. They would breed these oviraptors and sell them. They breed them in several different colors, stuff like that. And then here we are, the showcase of the end result. The monorail arch is sort of like representing the arch that you usually see above like the entry to a ranch, with like the the name of the ranch on it. I wish I could make a smaller arch, but it is what it is. We have the huge monorail arches. And yeah, just some overview shots of the ranch. I'm really happy with how it turned out. I really love the look of this, and also I just really enjoyed the building process. It was so fun to like shop around in the decorations and see what I could use. One of my favorite discoveries, quote unquote, was the barn. I'm definitely going to be making more barns like that. I also feel like in a park setting as well, as like to pretend that that is the indoor housing of dinosaurs. Just use a smidge of your imagination, and I honestly feel that it works really, really well. Let me know what you think about it, but I think it works quite well. Maybe not from this perspective, but it did look pretty cool. Now, I'm not really sure if I can continue with doing these builds every day as I had planned, because the videos are doing very poorly on the channel, so I think it might be a case of daily Evo is too much Evo for the people. So I might have to spread it out a little bit from this point on. And also, I'm going on a city trip pretty soon, so I need to have time to get some content ready for you guys, so I won't be absent for several days at a time. So yeah, I might have to switch things up from now on, but I do hope that you really enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a like, and again, if you want to see more park builds and more inspiration, more exhibit speed builds, because I will be doing more of them, just maybe not necessarily every single day, but there will be many more because I have many more ideas, then consider subscribing to the channel, joining the Evolution Square. It would mean so, so much to me, and I hope I can give you plenty of ideas and tips for this game. For now, have a safe and wonderful New Year's Eve, and I wish you all the very best for 2023, and I hope to see you back here on the channel in the new year. Thank you so much for watching, liking, subscribing, and until next time, Happy New Year!